too, because like some of us have to do pep talks and Bible verses
Ayo,
and watch motivational
that works
things.
also.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And
But
prayers. Yes,
I
all
love how
that.
you're moving. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And over to you. I realized from last week we have got a lot of nuggets to really do somersaults over.
Yes.
So we will start
Yes.
taking questions. I think the last 15 minutes, is that okay?
That's all right.
Absolutely lovely. Over to you.
Erica, you were flabbergasted last week. Like, I was not ready for this. Are you ready
Listen,
today?
my mindset was obliterated when it came to the things that I thought I knew and the things I should know.
Oh,
But
my
yeah.
goodness. Do you know, today we are carrying on with the physical offenses. So,
Mm.
it's like you have physical offenses and you have physical offenses, and then you have sexual abuses, and you'll be surprised kuti zvakatoenzana. Like, we had so many examples of physical abuses, and now with sexual abuses, munhu anenge achifunga kuti kana achiti sexual abuses saka how much can you abuse someone sexually? But I then realized, if you look at the Criminal Law Codification and Reform Act, which is like our criminal act now, patorinde jawi, loads and loads and loads of offenses. And the first one that it starts with, it talks about rape. Rape takaitaura last week, so we're not going to go too much into it. And we said kuti, for those who were not tuned in last week, we said kuti rape it can only happen to a woman. But musati maita hasha, because vanhu vanoti ko murume akarepewa zvikazodai musati maita hasha. It's just a matter of terminology. I think vanhu vataura kuti aiwa haazi masemantics chete here ari kuitika panapa. When we say rape, we are talking about the sexual activity, kana kuti sexual intercourse, with a woman without her consent. And one of the requirements kuti zvinzi paita rape, it must be penetration. Saka tikanzwisisa nyaya yepenetration, we'll understand kuti hazvitoiti kuti mukadzi anzi ari kupenetrata murume. And so because of that, kana ari mukadzi ari kukanganisira murume, because we've got women who are offending sexually men, izvo zvitofanira kuzvigamuchira. But we don't call it rape. Please guys, musaenda muchiti murume uyu akarepewa akazi murume haarepewi. But in terms of the act, inoitaura ichiti it's aggravated aggravated indecent assault. And it is saka tine indecent assault, but then today wenenge ichinzi aggravated, right, meaning kuti zvazonyanyisisisisa. So you'll see kuti mutongo wemunhu akarepa nemutongo wemunhu akaita aggravated indecent assault on a man unogona kutofanana, but the terminology is just different. It's important to us kuti ndikanzi rape ndotoziva kuti it's involving a woman. Zvikanzi aggravated indecent assault, especially if it's to do with zvinhu zvinenge zvaitika, it will be a man. Although also you can do aggravated indecent assault against women. So I hope that one is very, very clear. Then kana tabva rape manje Erica. I hope you're ready for this one. The act talks about sexual intercourse, but it also talks about anal intercourse. That's also put Erica autoblasha mu studio.
Unless it is aligned to my opinions thereof. This is Nyari and this is the law. We're talking constitutionally mandated things.
Yes.
It's not me.
No, it's not
Highlight.
Erica.
Thank you.
It's not even me either. This is just what the law is saying. You need to know. Because I have realized a lot of complaints are coming up where women are being forced to have anal sex. Okay, this is total sex from the other side, and it's the one through the vagina, tukutasa the one through where you do number 2. Sorry guys, I have to say this. When that is done to a woman against her will, that is actually pinned together with rape, okay, because it's force and it's not allowed. And there's so many weird men, in this world, okay, who will insist kuti maybe they're saying let's spice it up.
If you love me.
If you love me, kuti this is fun. For whatever reason, a lot of women are being forced to do this. And for some of them, they do them kuti achengete relationship yake because zvinhu izvi zvinouya namathreats kasongoti rape inouya namathreats yekuti if you fight me or whatever, I'll kill you, or I'll kill your mother, or I will do whatever. So there are always threats dzinouya handitika. And so also with this other type of sexual offense, the anal intercourse, inouya namathreats yekuti iwe ndotori musikana wangu, if you don't do it with me, I'm going to have to find somebody else who does it. Please ladies, musaiswa panguva yakadaro nemunhu, anybody, whether it's your boyfriend of 3 years kana kuti it's your husband. You know what, don't allow that to happen to you, because it is not right and it's actually criminal. Okay, musazvibvumidza kuti uite izvozvo, asi ukazotendawo kuti aiwa isisi muchitowirirana, mutemo hauchapindirawo nyaya yacho, but iwewo kana uchiitirwa zvinhu zvokuti hausi kutozvifarira, please understand kuti it is actually against the law, and you can report that. And it, because vamwe vanobvunza kuti but haana kuenda through the normal channel, akazoenda through another channel, that is still a sexual offense. So please totally understand that. Let me move on to what nasindati ndongonatsobata zvemutemo chaizvo mutemo uri kuti chinyi, right? Pane pari kunzi indecent assault, ndozvatataura aggravated indecent assault. Panombouyawo kuti maybe anokubvuta pachest, pane mamwe mawedzi, shona is hectic. Pane mamwe mawedzi eshona ekuti but pane vanhu vokuti anongokubata pachifuva apa handitika, in a way that you did not invite. Takambotaura last week that each person has got they are surrounded by their personal space. You're not allowed to come into my personal space. Ndisina kukubvumidza.
And
Okay.
that's including those uncalled for hugs and those greetings we spoke about last week.
Yes,
Ekundibata pa my
ekukwenya
shoulders.
kwenya.
Yeah.
Kana kusvika uchingohaga munhu so and stuff, you know, like, can you leave people alone? Pane vanhu vari touchy feely, both males and females. Touchy feely, hagoni kutaura maoko ake asiri kubata apa, asiri kudini, you know, like, don't do that, okay? Imwe inogona kuinterpretwa as indecent assault, and then you notice kuti pane vamwe vanhu vanotaura kuti ndakaitwa so. Wozobvunzwa kuti but pane zvakazoitika here, was there actual penetration? Oti aiwa hapana. But you can actually see kuti the effect yezvakaitika, it's as bad as if that child was raped, because haasi kutonzwisisa kuti relationship yandinayo this person, was it okay? Why am I not feeling that it's okay after this happened, right? And dzimwe nguva anenge angobatwa you know, like my private parts, dzimwe nguva, like I said, anenge ashamiswa kana kuti iye maybe anenge asina kutoshamiswa, but it will be like the person anenge ashama iye achitaridza mwana zvinhu zvaasingafaniri kuona, you know, kana kuti anonzi uya kuno kupinda mutabhu neni ndigezese chakati, you know, there are all kinds of things. I can talk about a whole 1,000 things which are terrible, and all those fall under indecent assault. Chimwe chinhu ndogona kusatozvi kunyatsokuchiisa into a pigeonhole, but the law has allowed that wide bracket kuti ikwane zvinhu zvakawanda. I think we mentioned last week kuti kuforcewa kuwacha porn, you know what I mean, like, you gotta watch porn, you know, and all that. Come on guys, you know, all that is indecent assault. Kana uchitiforsa ndisiri kuda, you are, you know, you are assaulting my mentality and my purity. Inini hangu izvo zvandizvide, but munhu aritoti aiwa toda kuona kuti vamwe vanozviita sei, aiwa izvozvo kana muchiita mawirirana itai mawirirana, but if it is forced, it becomes a crime, okay? And if I can move on, there is, it's very interesting. Sodomy. Sodomy, that is very interesting. In Zimbabwe, we must know that sodomy continues to be a crime because homosexuality and all those other things, they remain illegal in Zimbabwe. Okay, they're not lawful, although I know in Botswana, in South Africa, in other surrounding countries, vanenge vakazvibvumidza, you know, but in Zimbabwe, just know it is still a crime to to be doing sodomy nemunhu.
In a context where, I mean, legally it is, in a context where, in a situation where it is legal, I don't think sodomizing someone is still legal. Am I making sense?
If it's by force,
Yeah.
then it's
It's
still
not, yeah.
it's still a sexual
Because
offense.
I think therein
Yes.
lies that small gap where people might want to swindle by playing with the rules. Sorry, all of this just it's eek.
I know, Erica,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
especially on children.
But it's
If you would
yeah.
allow me to tackle a couple of questions, I know we did say from 15 minutes in, but as you're addressing, maybe you could touch on this one. Says, what happens if the girl is the one who's lying about being raped? You've got so many men who are in jail, falsely accused. So maybe if you could lead and answer and also be tackling that one as well.
Yeah, okay. Yes, yes, yes. There will always be exceptions where vanhu vanonyeperana kuti andirepa. Let me give you an example, Erica. There's a gentleman I know anga achidanana nemukadzi anga ane mwana wake anga ane 4 years, right? A young girl. And vakanetsana mukomana akarova musikana, handiti they were living in, vanga vasina kuroorana. Mukomana ndokurova musikana manje nekuziva kuti inini ndikandoripota assault, you know, maybe hazvizonyatsokuita mutsindo stereke. Saka pandiri kundoripota kuti mukomana uyu akabata mwana wangu, right? And that's what she reported, hey? And I was asked to come in. I don't normally do criminal cases, but I was asked to come in and deal with this case. And already, kana vari vana vadiki, like a 4-year-old, like those minors, you'll notice kuti ma-pressure groups vanenge vachitoripo, they are very active kucourt. Vanonatso kuona kuti nyaya dzevana kana kuti nyaya
Pressure groups
dzamadzimai.
is to make sure that situations are addressed. Is that
Yes, they
Yeah.
are there because vanoziva kuti pane chimwe chikanari chinozomboitika kuda munhu oitwa intimidated kana kuti panobhadharana panoitwa. So the pressure groups are there to make sure that there's justice for victims. So vanenge varipo, so it's actually, they make it actually hard kuti nyaya ingonzi, you know, yangopfuura just like that. So we went to court with this matter, and one of the questions after chimwana chiri mu victim friendly room, and tikarekete zvidhoridhori nechichi so that kari comfortable, saka kari kubvunzwa mubvunzo. Okay, kabvunzwa mubvunzo wese apa mwana akochewa kana mama unosvika uchiti wazvinzwa ka otherwise ndichakurova whatever. At the end of the day, I just asked a question. Ndikati, watudza zvese izvi waita hako, ndinakudza kuti uzoudza koti izvi. Zvikanzi ndimama.
don't say?
Just like that.
Don't
And the
say.
matter, because when you kuti uyu mukadzi uyu aritonyepa, and the court then instructed kuti mapurisa sungai mai ava, you know, because she's abusing the court, she's abusing the court's time, and she's actually lying under oath, you know, perjury. Saka iye ndiye akatozopedzisira adini asungwa. So it's a crime to lie under oath and kutaura kuti iwe warepewa iwe usina kurepewa, because pano mwana achiti ndichakufikisa, ukangonza musikana achiti ndichakufikisa chete, ziya kuti ada kundoripota zvimwe zvinhu zvisiri zvechokwadi. So it is a criminal, guys. So it's a crime. If you're asking me, kuti, what happens if a person lies, they are actually committing a crime. And munhu uyoyo ari kunzi ndiye azviita anotoregererwa achibuda, then iwewe ndiwe unotosungwa. And I can't say, honestly, it's the most difficult thing for magistrates and judges to deal with rape cases. You know why? That's why we need medical evidence, okay, my medical reports. That's why we need to hear that's why we need to hear maybe my conversations after the fact where somebody's admitting kuti akazviita, because usually with rape, my sexual offenses, they are one-on-one. It's your word against mine.
him.
And so you have to have, and that's why this I have to say, because it's so important, the minute it happens, kana zvaitikira panze pavhu, tora hembe idzodzo. In fact, dzimwe nguva vanototi usatombochinja, enda kumapurisa wakadaro, so that they take the evidence iri zvairi. Wotoenda kuhospital wakadaro. They need that evidence yemasamples iwawo ekuti okay, tikatora say this semen yemunhu uyu iri kuconnecta here ne DNA ye the person ari kunzi ndiye committed the crime. Saka zvinonzi please usatanga wati zvinoita here kuti ndifambe ndikwire kombi ndakadai zvinoita because that's your evidence. If you had to change or you have to change, then tora hembe idzodzo dzise plastic bag dzisunge kuti dzisakanganisika dzisandiwa obva waenda nadzo kumapurisa. Don't wash yourself, okay, and undochekwa nadoctor as soon as possible, and ivo vanotokurefer especially kuma municipal clinics and hospitals. You will go and then they will do a proper test and produce a proper report. Saka usauraya kana kudeleta evidence ichabatsira nyaya yako, because at the end of the day it's your word against his. Yanoti ndini shandiri panapa chichandoshayeni, why would I rape somebody? Yeah. Pane vanotoita izvozvo. I think last week we spoke about it kuti a lot of the people in one of these provinces vakwachinzi vakarepa, they are actually polygamists.
Unatoda
vakadzi vakawanda zvokuti hanzi ndashayei. It's got nothing to do with ndashayei. Remember we said it's about force, it's about conquering someone, it's about them screaming and tagging and doing whatever, and then iwo ndoti I've conquered, ndakufosekeza. Somehow it gives some kind of relief, some kind of pleasure to the person. It's not about sexual pleasure. I'll give you just a small example, Erica, about a story that happened where two ladies were picked up by some men, by force. Baba drive wakaenda kusango, and the two women, they were shaking kuti nasi zvedu nyaya yamabody parts yaya tatopara. So they asked this man kuti muda kuitei nezi, what to do with us? Varume vanoitena vakadzi, that's how they spoke to them. So the women were like, oh, like you want to have sexual activity. We're like, no business. I'm telling you, price jatopera tatoenda somewhere kurinani. Do you know kuti it's actually reported kuti those men instantly lost interest, because they noticed kuti these women were not going to struggle, they were not going to fight, they were not going to, you know what I mean? And
it's an ego thing. I watch a lot of Crime Network. It's something in the neuro services that if someone, the fear that they get from someone is what they want back. And if you don't, they likely would have
exactly
right.
It's true. So you notice kuti, it's really that it's a psychological thing. And if a person sees kuti there's not gonna be a struggle, there's not gonna be victory, a conquering, you'll see kuti anobva aluza interest. That's vakatisiya musango imomo tikazotanga kufamba tichitimba kudzokera kutown, and they just lost interest because there was not going to be any force. So super interesting. Let's talk about this one. Hey, this one, Erica, is one of those where you cringe, isn't it?
Making me cringe.
I know, darling. But you know what? We have to say it. Bestiality.
Bestiality.
Dude, do you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. It's like, so you can commit a sexual offense against an animal. Now I have to say this, I hate being the carrier of this kind of news.
Imagine.
But do you know kuti kumamisha uko kuri kufudzwa mombe nembudzi newai? Do you know how many sexual offenses are being committed nevakomana vemombe against like goats? And I have to say it's there. It's in our Criminal Law Codification and Reform Act. Okay, it's there. So everybody has to know. Kuti mukaziva vanhu vari kuita izvozvo, those people vari kukomita is beyond public indecency. They are doing that to those poor animals, and I can't start to tell you then what happens afterwards and that kind of thing. But ndo bestiality iri kutaurwa, kureva kuti having sexual activity with an animal.
Why, Nyari? I've been trying to hold it back. Why?
People are
I think
sick in the
corporal
head.
punishment. I think I've noted this before. I wish kutumukot. Maybe that's why I can't be a lawyer. I'm very erratic.
Yeah.
I think as a judge, I would just drop the number kuroba, tozotsukira muntongo, because why are you doing that?
People are sick. Anybody who commits this
Like
sexual
actual
offenses.
attraction,
Honestly, I would
and then you
say-
eat the meat after that.
Ah, Erica, don't go there. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Do you know all the list of my offenses we've been talking about? That is good. Very normal.
Yeah,
You know what
true
I
that,
mean?
True that.
And vanhu vanotoda rubatsiro. People need help, you know. But unfortunately, if the law catches up with you before you get that help, then the law is gonna have to deal with you. And vamwe vanongochitoitira musikanzwa chaiyo chaiyo kuti ndombona kuti
Kuti
ndoda
zvinoita
kuti
sei?
kuti zvinofamba sei. Ai, it's yeah. So bestiality, guys, it's not just a moral offense. It is actually a criminal offense under the law of Zimbabwe, right? So please leave the animals alone. You know, they're just there to be loved. Come on.
That was really exciting. Did you feel like get it out of the system? Like,
You know. Then I
yeah.
can't talk about everything,
Mhm.
but maybe we'll just mention a few other things. Public indecency.
whilst we're there, Nyari, just in case we do have someone who just joined us, good morning and thank you so much. It is the Morning Galaxy here on Star FM, talking about legal matters, and we are speaking to Advocate Nyaradzo Maposa Nyari, and we are having a continuation of domestic abuse. She's trying her absolute best to touch on different nuggets, and you can get in touch with us on the WhatsApp platform. That's on 0772162651. My name is Erica Ndoro.
Thanks a lot, Erica. So moving ahead, we are going to touch on public indecency, right? Saka izhoko famba. Hey, and this one is a sensitive one, hey, because vasikana varongofamba shava kashama. Saka kuti titi saka line chero kudrowa kuti saka
I'm
iya
now
public
100%
indecency.
yours, Nari. We need to, before we carry on with the conversation,
Hey, yo.
because you are touching from the legal aspect of it. Now we must also advocate for people being allowed to live. What is it? How do we define munarukunza rukufamba akashama? What length do we apply that to? What moral values? What statistics are we using? Who are we talking about? Ethnicity?
Yeah, so you know what? I'm going to avoid going the moral way. As you know, I'm a preacher. So obviously, but that's very subjective.
Very
So
subjective.
we're looking at the law, and I think Lowe just said freedom of expression, and that's all right. I think that's okay. But you know, I think before, maybe now change, like 20 years before, I remember like guys wouldn't even allow a girl to be like maybe wearing my 3/4 trousers. It was like indecent at that time, you know what I mean? And I'm more bewa. They're not also protect on
I think it did happen here at Copacabana.
Yes.
It was a viral video. You see what I advocate for all the time, corporal punishment, and it stopped. I completely support that.
So your subjective idea of what is decent, and don't impose it on other people.
Amen.
Please don't do that.
Amen.
But at the same time, maybe takutaura takuita kumoro wokuti asikana woka, you know, just
No,
itawo shiri
Nyari,
better.
we are speaking to you as an advocate because we
Yes.
want to stand corrected when it comes to what our constitution does allow, protect, and prohibit.
Yeah.
As an advocate, what measurements do we use to say this person was dressed indecently? Eric, because yanga for 3 centimeters, what do we use when it
Sheba-
comes to the law?
I wash a centimeter hakuna. I
Saka
think that when
chi.
it comes to the law, let me restrict my comment to the law. Kutofamba wakashama chaiko. Usina kutopeka. Full stop.
That does file under insanity. doesn't
You-
it?
It can extend to that, you know.
Mhm.
But you know, pane vanhu vanotongofamba waka, that's public indecency.
Yeah, yeah.
And sure vanhu vava chero ari insane.
Well, I get that.
Anotosungwa oiswa away because pane zvimwe zvinhu zvisingafaniri kuonekwa nevanhu. So let me say all the like my private parts edu
Must be covered.
must be covered.
So we are
really.
saying you can't get into bazira takatarisira ukarova zvako biniki.
Yeah, anenge ari ma1, you know, and zvinenge zvakuzoenda
Imagine Nyari being your lawyer in court and she says, yeah, Angarima.
That's our one. You know what? If you are at a public pool and you're wearing a bikini or you're wearing a swimming costume, but I don't public
Yeah, of
indecency.
course.
So I think she mentioned you know. You can see kuti kana munhu maybe akapfeka shorts, akapfeka whatever, or pinda church. That can be like, come on, you know what I mean? The
The
environment
Lord
is a bit.
says, come as you are, advocate.
Akomana washayembere na Erika. She kuitika. No,
Okay, so we're going to
but-
stick it to time and place. When we're talking about addressing, we must say for you to then have the law protect you or not to be against thereof, then just make sure you are looking at the climate with time and place. Did it copy?
Yes, very
Dinanani.
well.
Maybe we can leave it at that.
We can leave it at that.
And
Also,
common sense.
nabadzimai emuchechi eruwadzano vanenge vakukucover nezambia. Pana vatona mazambia ari ready kuti aiwa uyu ngakavwe nezambia.
I saw someone
But
at the
also
Zambian airport, vanhu vachimukava, and she was okay. And I'm like, leave this chick alone. She likes her dress being up in the air. She's not looking for help.
Hey,
It's, for real, like, we must also just look, does this person need help?
yeah, I think Erica, you're probably right, and I have to say this, kuti we have to balance it out. Kuti there is that right to wear what you would like to wear,
Yeah.
you know, and then there's what is called public indecency. Kuti kangoso, yes,
And
Lord.
over who determines kuti now this is public indecency?
Zvinorovesa.
Become personal kune munhu who
And
feels
subjective.
kuti and
It's very
subjective.
subjective,
So
yeah.
who determines kuti, because for me kudropa kunoita vanhu vechirumemba mamatos
It
for me
makes
that's
me
public
livid.
indecency.
That should be illegal.
to me that's public indecency.
Guys.
So is there a standard? Is there a standard yekuti maybe skate yako payasvika apa pamacentimeters mapfekero waita shirt or wakavhura mabhatani eshirt yako tiri kuona, you know, your chest is out? Who determines?
Yes.
And is there a standard?
My
You're so
grandmother
right.
always
Hey,
used to say
you're
to
so
me,
right, though.
make sure what you're wearing, people can't see what you had for breakfast. So that was a
Ouch.
standard to say,
Oh,
as long as
wow.
I can't see what you had for breakfast, I think you look okay.
Hey,
Sake
Because
wo
very-
nonge-
because pane ladies vaneta very pregnant, you know, like fashion these days is crazy. Vanhu vada kubudisa matumbu avo sterek, you know.
It's because
And-
mukuvarambira kuti vanodiwa ngamai, they want to show us.
I'm telling you. And you know, public indecency goes beyond kuti ndiri kutofamba mustreet.
Yeah.
It's also to what am I posting on my social media? You know what I mean?
Objection.
Overruled.
Objection.
Overruled.
Objection.
Overruled.
Objection. Whoa. You see,
Yeah.
I mean, I stand to be corrected by all margins in life. I mean, ethnic or whatever. But I put the data myself. You click follow Erica, and now you have a problem
It's a
with what
it's
I
a
post.
public
Just
space.
get off my
Erica,
page.
It's a
It's
public,
a public
space.
space.
You
Get-
know? so people, you know what? So people leave it to nudity, right? There's a difference between nudity and nakedness. I think let's be very clear about that. So I think let's work with nakedness. And let's work with all those things that people cover when they are showing off other flesh on their bodies. So ukazoneka wakubudisa chest, wakubudisa, you know, your derriere,
Terrier.
wakubudisawo nemako mapatsi aya ekuti, you know, zvinhu zvatiwanzokuona kana, you know, kana, yeah, you know, zviwanzobuda mumaporn movies zviyazve kwete zvatiwanzokuona. We need to, I need to take that back. Aiwa guys, no. But zvinhu zvinoonekwa, like the private parts, those should not be seen. Hanzi musazanganisa vanhu, you know, vanhu vanofana kunyarikana. You know, let me respect you. Ndichiona face yako, ndichiona maoko ako, ndichionawo kana tsoka dzako, but zvimwe zvese izvi they are none of my business. And handichaende kumoral, because on the moral side, Erica anozoti konai at 4 for shasodi manje.
We got 10
Okay.
minutes to go. We are taking in questions 0772162651. If you're just joining us, thank you so much for making us your station of choice, tackling legal matters here and speaking to Advocate Nyaradzo Maposa. And we are having a continuation of domestic abuse and touching on a couple of nuggets. So if you do have questions, bring them through on the WhatsApp platform 0772162651 as you were, Nyari.
All right, moving ahead. Soliciting.
Yay!
Soliciting. Going on the street looking for business to do with sex. Prostitution ndo inotongonzi
Hallotism. Does it
soliciting.
now end? Does solicitation now end on the streets? Nyari, I'm asking because it's quite wild on social media now. We've got people
It
opening my
is.
OnlyFans account, and as you were
Yes.
speaking about Instagram accounts. Pane zvakawanda zviri kuitika. So does it now just stop at the streets? Because when on social media is worse than what's happening on the streets.
It's crazy. We have all kinds of dating sites which are not dating sites. Could have a dating sites, Aditika, but part of our dating sites at all over. They're not dating sites. They're like booty call sites. You know, kuti wewe, are you willing? Are you willing? Can we have a one night stand in this show? That kind of thing. And if it's to do with money, isho vanhu vari kungoita zvavari kuita. But if it's to do kuti munhu awane mari, that kind of thing, inenge yakutenda towards soliciting. You know, so soliciting is so wide and it can cover so many things. But maybe for the purposes of those who are listening, ngatimbotanga ine prostitution. Kungoenda muroad, ushimisa mota, offering yourself. Enonzi mathai vendors, I think that's what they're calling them on social media. You know, uchiti, I would want you, of course, dressed for the occasion. We want to go and I want to go and offer you my sexual favors and then you pay me. So that is illegal, okay? Not just that, we then have people who are living off, that's like the next crime, people who are living off prostitution. It means that patikutaura mapimps, you know,
Wait a minute, people who are living off yo.
people who are actually benefiting, because now it's no longer just munhu ari kuzvisumukira ega oenda odomirawo nevamwe vasikana oti kone yangu ndeiyi handitika oita business rake oenda, right? Now you've got pimps. We know that there are people who actually hire maybe 20 girls. And kuda mahotels akawanda mtown, you know, nemahotels, nema-inns, nema-lodges, right? Which are booked by a person solely for that reason. Yekuti anenge achiti, okay, nhasi kuri kuenda Nyari, for this client, tikuda Erika, apa it's a foreigner, saka I think Lewe, guy, because
Top scorer.
you know, exactly. So you know what I mean? There are people who actually are organized in prostitution, and this is something that is so real. And the shikabatwa na mapurisa, you're going down. You know,
So who goes
People-
down? Is it the person that is
it's the
using
pimp
this?
and the prostitute, because remember the crime is soliciting, but we also have people living off that.
Whilst we have you here, Nyari, we must then tackle what we've been seeing on social media, and it has become quite an acceptably avid activity where you go to universities and you've got this pimp who's also a girl who's got a group of her girls that hire out the group of her girls, and there's money going around. What is
Yes.
happening there? Because it seems like it's something that's just brought to us for entertainment, but I've never actually seen someone being taken to fore and being reprimanded for doing things like that. You can imagine mbereki ari kutambisa school fees akuendesa kuchikoro iwe wakutomaketera vanhu vakumaketera mabhodhi. What's happening there legally? Who are we suing here? Are we suing the school? Are we suing the parents?
No, we sue the person who's committing the crime. The crimes are
The
very
crime
specific.
being selling your body to
It's
someone else who's going to
for-
help you
for
sell it.
money. You know, that's just prostitution. It's just these are different types of prostitution,
Mhm.
but they are all what? Prostitution.
Yeah,
Don't you talk about it?
yeah.
But it's just people are doing it in a clever way.
Mhm.
They you know, with male prostitutes, Vanuatu Majigolo. Nobody says, "Oh, this is a male." And they,
Are you serious? Is that what that word
I'm
means?
like, for yes, that's what it
I
means.
use it so much.
And they call them what? Erika, Tendeuka, repent. So they call them that. They also call them. They've got a special word for them. Lewe. What do they
Don't
say?
play with me. I'd
But I
forget.
like-
This one I'm saying.
You know, I don't want to
Don't
be
play with
No, no, no,
crucified
this is
here.
something that you would know. But it's. I think they call them not companions, but like escorts. Yes.
Oh yes, the
They call
escorts.
them escorts, and you'll see kuti anonzi escort kuti vavhare mapurisa vavhare mutemo kuti aiwa, this is a person anongoti if somebody's coming from Venezuela, you know, maybe
Oh no, don't tell
they are
me
going
they're
to
putting
pick
it
them up.
under tourist attraction and what it is that
my
has to be
goodness.
offered.
Oh yeah, In some
What an
countries, that's a
abomination.
big tourist attraction. Like it's crazy.
Red light district. Yes.
Abomination. Wataura ko, Erica. And so they call them escorts. Saka, whatever could be wrong with an escort? Munhu ari kungo and munhu ari kuperekedza, munhu ari kundopika someone onomusiya kuhotel. But the services can extend beyond just escorting somebody or chauffeuring business, and vanhu vanotopiwa ma-options, we are saying this not as a prescriptive, this is descriptive. Zvinhu zviri kuitika zvatiri kuti zvinenge zviri against the law. That's why people try to hide them behind ma names ari nani, so you even have male prostitutes, you do, and variko, and vanhu ukavaona kaunobvuma, those guys, they spend all their time with gym, they're looking great, they're what
Do you know that right now I'm listening to Nyari speak and I'm just like, I think it's about a time that I just exit this conversation nicely, and then when people bump into me, I'm like, no, it was that advocate. But I would extremely hate for Nyari, I would extremely hate for people to listen to this conversation and think we are watering this down. I think what we're making it is more digestible.
Yes.
So if you hear us laughing, if we hear us putting in
We're
a joke or
just bringing
two,
it down.
we are making it a bit more digestible.
Palatable, yeah.
Exactly, that is the
True.
word. But it doesn't mean that any of these things that are happening are to be watered down. You can report it out, as I did ask Advocate Kuti, when it's happening at universities and everything, whomst shall we, address
shall we
this?
pin down?
Exactly. Who are we pinning
Exactly.
down? Who are we asking? When it comes to soliciting in the streets, we did touch on your partner forcing you to watch pornography as a way to
Yes.
show them that you love them, participating in threesomes. You are
Yeah.
allowed to say no. It is invoking on your privacy, your
It
thought,
is.
your mental processes.
Yeah.
It does a
Yeah.
lot of things
Yeah.
to people, Nyari. It's just that time is not our favor. So
Oh.
maybe if we throw in 2 last nuggets and then
Okay.
we seal it down for today.
All right. The first thing I'm going to say is, soliciting children, is also not allowed, because pane vamwe vanamai vanopa vana vavo kuma businessmen so that ivo vanochengetwa. That's just a reality. Itoona kuti vanamai vavo varoyi chaivo. I'm telling you who does that.
Nyari, I'm
You
yet
know-
to see you in court. I want to see you because you're just the type to say, you know what, your honor, uyumuroyo. Yeah.
No, but vanhu varoyi, Erica, that is so wrong. Like vana vadiki, can you allow them to grow normally? After all, ndiye achazokuchengeta. Uri kumudzidzisa chinyi?
What type of adults are we breeding if we start off with children like this?
Yeah.
Their mentality is going to be so shifted. What can we give to them?
Totally, I hear you. And then maybe the one thing I'll say, and this is because this is my nature and I have to say it, varume, a lot of women are complaining about being overused in marriage.
Nyari,
Ah,
I'm
yeah.
working on my salvation.
This
I'm
is
trying to go
the
to
last
heaven.
word I'm
Trying to
saying.
get these words out of me now. But to stand corrected, let's not make people feel like what they're going through is not a problem. Nyari,
Yeah.
what you're saying now is that in a marriage, just because you're married does not mean that you need to perform sexual activities more than you need
Super,
to.
like you're
Mustn't happen
superwoman.
hourly like the time tickets.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if
So
we
can you say no, and if you say no and they continue at it, that is rape, yes.
it is rape, and I think takataura last week, and maybe this can be.
Sungisa say murumu wake akamurora last year after aenda kuprayer mountain for marriage. I think that's what we are fighting. We are fighting what we want. A lot of people were married because they want to show Anna Erika could have got a man, but what's happening to
Erica,
them is
It's
detrimental.
horrible, Erica. We're fighting abuse,
Yes.
right? Marriage rora nai kuma prayer mountains namata. Kunamatira namatirwa namprofita, but you must separate between abuse and a normal marriage. So every man, every husband, and every wife, they have conjugal rights.
Yeah.
The minute you guys get married, we're expecting that something's going to be happening in the bedroom.
It doesn't mean
But-
excessively.
No, it mustn't be excessive. It mustn't be something chinokudhimina. It mustn't be something chekuti unobvamo kapana vamwe vanoti zvichitoitika ari kutochema kana kuti immediately after ari kuchema kwanowa kuchema, understand kuti perhaps there's some, you need to look a little more into this and zvinazviskuita. Just because munhu akakubvisira fuma handiti kana kuti munhu ari kukubikira every day, it doesn't mean you have to be put through, you know, sexual offenses and abuse that happens in marriage. And yes, in as much as you can go and get a peace order yemunhu ari kukurova, you can also absolutely report zvinhu zvakashata zviri kuitika mumarriage mako.
Amen. Nyari, it's always a lovely time to have you on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Time has, it's no longer kind to us. How do we catch up with you?
Facebook, Advocate Nyari Maposa, 077 4344 527. Guys, come, let's talk.
Absolutely lovely. We're speaking there to Advocate Nyari Maposa, touching on domestic abuse. It is the Morning Galaxy right here on Star FM. My name is Erica Ndoro. We'll catch up with you in the third and final hour. It's 11 o'clock and it's time for the news.
This is Zimpaper's Radio Broadcasting News.